sees my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes.
Hello, check check 1 2. All right, so now I should be significantly louder than that, than the music. Let me just make sure that my stuff is actually going. Perfect. Now let me hop into my analytics so that I can talk to you guys. Come on, come on, come on. Perfect. Alright, now that I'm in, it's time for me to let all y'all know that I'm streaming. Alright, now that that's done, let me pull up this guy. I hope nothing inappropriate pops up. I don't think anything should, but I don't know how these websites usually run. Alright. Let's see what we got here. Alright. So I just pulled up Tier Maker's 100 best anime tier list, and I'm gonna kind of go through them and see which ones I do and don't know and how I feel about them. I'm looking through this one briefly, and I'm not gonna lie, there's not that many that I'm a huge fan of or that I know very well. Um, I've never seen Nana. I want to say this is Your Lie in April, but I haven't seen that one, so I'm actually gonna try to find a different tier list here. Let's try this guy. Let's see what this guy has. Alright, yeah, this one has a couple more that I know. I can see Tokyo Ghoul, Fairy Tail, Naruto, Fate. Alright, yeah, I think this is the one I'm gonna do. Start off with this first one. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not entirely sure which one that is. Based off of the characters that I'm seeing, I don't think I know this one. If it's anything, it might be... No, it's not Bakemonogatari, so I'm gonna have to go with Never Watched for that one. Alright, so the first one that we're gonna be starting with, I guess, is gonna be Naruto. I watched this one a while ago, and I'm not gonna lie, it was a good one. It was a definitely... I got into Naruto Shippuden, but after that, but I'm not gonna talk about that one right now. Naruto in and of itself, I think, was pretty good. I didn't like how much filler there was in it, and honestly, the tuning exams and the Sasuke retrieval, I believe that was in this one, and those were probably the two best arcs. I liked it, but I'm looking at some of the other ones on here, and I don't think I like it as much as a lot of them, especially Naruto Shippuden. I'm gonna have to give it a C. That only because I think Naruto Shippuden was that much better. I think it, like, with the Pain arc and the Fourth Great Ninja War and just everything else about it was like that's when you started getting into the Akatsuki, I think this one and the Sasuke and Itachi fight, and honestly, like, all of those were phenomenal. Like, I think Sasuke Itachi fight, the Pain arc, like, those are some of the best fights in anime that I can think of, even though some of their artwork is a little choppy and displeasant to pause at. But it was really good. I think I'm gonna have to give that one an A tier. I would argue like high A. It was phenomenal anime. Now hopping over to Fairy Tail. Fairy Tail was really good. I know a lot of people are very divisive on it. It was an anime that I started watching fairly young, and honestly, I haven't finished it necessarily. I'm halfway through the last season, and after the what's it called, where the trials, or not the trials, the arena fights with the other guilds, like, I think that was their last phenomenal arc, and then they had like 3 or 4 seasons that just wasn't that great. And I believe they had the Oration Seis, and they were phenomenal. And honestly, like, the first six-ish seasons were really good, and then after that it kind of fell off, and I think because of that I'm gonna have to give it a B tier. If they stuck it out all the way through, I definitely think that they would be up in the A tier as well, but because they fell off so hard after season 6, I can't give it to them. This one, I don't I don't recall that artwork. I don't think I've seen this one, unfortunately. Yeah, so I'm just gonna have to put that one in never watched. This one I know a lot of people have seen, and it's one that I've been meaning to get to. And I heard that it's really good, but unfortunately it's just gonna have to go in this category for now. I don't know what this one is, like, at all. I think I might have seen it a long time ago, just because of the artwork. But I know I'm gonna have to put that in never watched. Okay, I know there's gonna be quite a few in never watched, but I feel like it'll be about a 70-30% just looking at this list. That being said, Dragon Ball Z. Oh man, this one is for sure biased. I love the entire Dragon Ball series. I could go on for hours about Dragon Ball in and of itself. It was the first anime I ever watched. It was the one that got me hooked. It was the one that I watched with my dad growing up. It was phenomenal. It was so much fun. And it's the reason why I started watching anime. I wouldn't say that it's the reason why I started watching more indie anime, but it definitely got me into mainstream anime, and I have to give it S tier. It's so hard to beat. Like, it has one of my all-time favorite characters being Gohan. It's just a phenomenal anime, in my personal opinion, and it's hard to top that, especially leading with one that I don't know. Again, this is another one that I've been wanting to watch, and I know that I believe this one's Evangelion, if I'm not mistaken, and I know that it's one that I should watch. It's just I have so many on my list right now that I haven't gotten to, and that's just gonna have to go in this list for now. Angel Beats. All right, so I've seen about half of this one. I've seen. I know that pretty much. I'm gonna say this right now. You haven't watched it. Spoilers for like probably like the next 30 seconds or so. I know that a lot of people in this anime end up fading away because that's kind of the whole concept of it. And it's kind of like, if I'm not mistaken, they're kind of in limbo. But like the storyline behind each of the characters is really well like drawn out and explained with every episode. The main female protagonist here, like, her story is very well drawn out so that you actually get to know her and like her. It's a short anime. I still need to finish it, but I think it was a really good one, and everybody that I've talked to has given it fairly high praise. And with only watching half of it, I still think it's pretty good. So I'm going to put it up in probably B tier. I don't think it's Dragon Ball or Naruto level. I would say it's probably around Fairy Tail. It's got decent story beats, and for as short as it is, it's very, very well done. This one, I don't remember the name. I want to say it's not Durarara. I don't remember the name of this one, but I do remember watching it, and it's gonna bother me. Give me 2 seconds. No, I'm not gonna look it up because I don't even know what I would look up. It's a phenomenal anime. One of the most frustrating, simply because the story is told so well, but also very like heart achy because like you just want things to happen and they just aren't happening. I wish they came out with another season. I wish they didn't end it the way that they did, but the entire storyline is phenomenal. The way that they kind of tease relationships in this is really well done. the only complaint I have about this anime is how they ended it, and that's simply because I want a solid conclusion. I don't like animes that kind of tease, oh, this is what could happen later on. Oh, this is like, we're going to leave it up to your interpretation. I kind of want them to be like, you know where we're heading with this, and now here's like a solid conclusion. Here's what it's really, really all about, and this just doesn't really give me that feeling. So I'm going to have to put it in A tier. It would be an S tier if it wasn't for that one small thing. What is this? Go away. Driver support? Like, this thing pops up every once in a while and it's super annoying. Just alright, whatever. I guess we'll continue on while that's doing its thing because I can't get rid of it for some reason. Alright. Well, it's gone now. This one I think is Your Lie in April. I'm looking through the list here. I won't see any other. No. This is the one. Again, spoilers for probably the next 30 seconds. If I'm not mistaken, this is the one where she's dead. And he has to try to save her. They're communicating to each other via text messages. And they fall in love with each other. They swap bodies with each other like every other day. And they start to fall in love with one another, and then something happens, a catastrophe that they try to prevent, that they do end up saving a bunch of people from, and they end up meeting a few years later. I think it was like 2 to 3 years later. And if that's the case, this story is a trip. This story is... It's heart-wrenching, it's frustrating, because you just want them to meet, you want them to be together, you want them to... And because they're swapping bodies, but they're in 2 different parts of Japan, it never ends up happening until, again, spoilers, the very end. But it's not, again, it's one of those conclusions where it's like they're teasing you, and they're leaving it to like the audience's the audience to kind of put together the pieces or choose how they want it to end. And if this is that anime that I'm thinking of, I'm terrible with names. I cannot remember the name of this anime. It is phenomenal. It is heart-wrenching. It's I don't want to say it's as high as Naruto Shippuden and this guy, but I don't think it's as low as Fairy Tail. You know what I mean? I think I'm gonna have to put it in A still. It's a very different kind of story, but it's still very, very good. I don't know what this one is, so we're putting that one there. This one's Black Butler. I've only seen the first episode, I believe, maybe 2. Not enough to give it a fair ranking. I feel like for me, the storyline didn't catch me immediately, and because of that, I wasn't able to really get into it. But I know that a lot of people really like it, so I'm not gonna put it in any specific category for now. I honestly don't know what this one is. Fate Stay Night. Alright, this anime was another one of the earlier ones that I watched that was phenomenal. It was one of the, it was high action, decent story. I do feel like it wasn't really like laid out in a way that you could kind of anticipate what was going on, but it was still interesting. And I feel like if I had a little more context with what was happening in like the other Fates prior to this one, I would have appreciated it a little bit more. And I did end up watching those other Fates later on, which, I mean, it did give it a little more depth, but it wasn't enough for me to be like, this is a top tier anime. This one was a great watch, fantastic action scenes. And I think some of the most interesting characters in some animes that I've seen. But it wasn't top tier. It was probably one of the best Fates though. And so for that, I'm going to give it a B. I'm going to say it right now. Watched like an episode. Wasn't great. High School DxD, not my cup of tea. Not watched it enough to even care either. This guy, I don't know what this one is. So that one's going into not watched. Now, Hunter x Hunter. Oh man, this anime, I tell you what, it's a long watch. I believe it's about 100 episodes, if I'm not mistaken. And the beginning and the end, I personally think were really, really good. I loved the ant arc. I loved the exam arc. But the middle arcs, I was not a huge fan of. I don't even remember what they were called. There's like the freaking the Spider Guild that they had to fight, and it just didn't get there for me. It was fell a little short. Kurapika just wasn't as interesting of a character as I wanted him to be. Same with the tall guy there. He just wasn't all that interesting. I love Killua and Gon, but because of that middle section with Kurapika and the other guy that just didn't really hit, I'm probably gonna give it a B. But I loved, like I said, the ant arc was phenomenal. Where you got to see Gon lose his mind was phenomenal. Where you got to see Killua's lightning god transformation was ridiculously cool. And his whole relationship with his family was really cool. It was a great anime. I just wish that I wish that middle arc was a little bit better. Let's see. Now we're moving on to... Give me 1 second here. Alright. Now I'm moving on to Darling in the Franxx. I just watched this one not even a month ago. Fantastic anime. The development I thought was really good. I didn't like how they kind of just overshadowed the main character's sickness and kind of just was like, oh no, he's fine now. Oh no. What happened? No. What's going on? Okay, it all saved. Oh, thank goodness. All right. But I think 02's storyline was really, really good. I think the whole story behind him and his squad was really good. The fact that it was, I don't know, it was great anime, a lot of strong emotions. I felt like there just wasn't as much at risk as they were trying to portray, and it didn't feel that there wasn't a connection there that I wanted there to be. It was a cute anime, but it wasn't a great one. So I'm unfortunately gonna have to put that in the C tier. Now I'm on to Sword Art Online. Sword Art Online is my guilty pleasure. I think it was underrated. I think people gave it too much, didn't give it enough credit for what it did, because it was one of the earlier isekais that kind of kicked off a genre that is still known to be one of the better genre or more interesting genres, and it did so well at it. The first 2 seasons were phenomenal. They told such a compelling story, but the last 2 seasons were dog water, bro. They were terrible. It was non-compelling. It was the relationship between Asuna and Kirito just wasn't as romantic as I wanted it to be. It was almost like they were just best friends in a group of friends, and the incestuous relationship in the second season just wasn't, or the second part of the first season just wasn't it, bro. The first season was phenomenal. The second season it had some controversial parts, but I thought it was kind of good aside from those controversial parts. But it was one of the animes that really got me into indie animes. It really got me into watching a lot more than just mainstream stuff. And for that, I really didn't like the second season, bro. I really didn't like it. If we're cutting out the second season, it's an A tier. But because I do have to take that into consideration, I have to put it in B tier. I don't know what this is. I'm sorry. Bleach. I got to halfway through this 3rd season in this, and it just, first 2 seasons, phenomenal. Second season, arguably one of my favorite seasons in all anime. And I know that it's still going and it's still highly praised by their community. But that 3rd season, man, I'm telling ya, it ruined it for me. It was less than desirable. It was boring. There was no compelling story. There was no character development. It was just pointless conversations in backstreet Japan for hours and hours. And it was, if I get rid of that and I go based off of what people have been telling me, I'm going to personally put it in B tier. Otherwise, honestly, I'd probably put it in CD tier. So I'm actually going to put it in C tier. I can't. The second season was so good. I have to put it in B tier. What is this guy? I haven't seen this guy. This one is Fate Grand Order, if I'm not mistaken. Fate Grand Order was really good. It was, the beginning was very boring, very slow. The first two to three episodes. If you care about story, then you have to watch them, and they're not very interesting on how they tell it. But if you're going past that and you actually finish the full, I believe it's 24 episodes, it's either 12 or 24, it's really good, man. Not as good as Fate Stay Night. I hate how many pauses they have for storytelling and how boring the storytelling is, and I'm sorry, I have to put it in C tier. Like, the fights were great, but the fights were only about like 30 to 40% of the anime, and the rest of it was just boring dialogue and they tell it in such a way that it's just, you don't feel compelled or interested to watch it all. Let's see. Next year we got Magi. Magi was... I didn't like the main protagonist. The main protagonist was, besides the Magi, the blonde-haired, what's his name? He was frustrating. He was annoying. He was not compelling as a character. I just wanted to punch him in his face the entire show. It wasn't, and he was the main person that Magi cared about, and it all the tertiary characters, the secondary characters, they were all phenomenal. I really enjoyed them. I thought they were great. I thought they were funny. I thought they had compelling stories. Even Magi, like, though his story is drawn out a little long and they don't really give a whole lot. They give it in like chunks after a few episodes. It was better than the other guys, and the other guy just took up too much. I'm sorry, Magi, I have to put you in D. I do not like you at all. Psycho Pass, I really want to watch it. I haven't seen it. Don't know what this one is. This one, I want to say I have seen, but I can't tell because of the artwork, unfortunately. Alright, Attack on Titan. I haven't watched the season 4 part B, or second part B, whatever. It's a fantastic anime. It took me a while to get into it. It did start off a little slow for my personal taste, but once you got into it, it did start picking up, and it was very compelling. The story was very interesting. I think Eren Yeager was a little bit of a bitch, especially towards the beginning. I didn't like the little blonde-haired kid. He was a bitch the entire time. Wow, what's her name? Levi and Eren's basically sister are probably two of the best characters in the entire anime, or they are the two best characters in the entire anime, hands down. I loved how much screen time Levi got. I loved his story. He was very interesting. I think he was one of the better anime characters in general. The girl, I think she could have gotten a little more screen time, a little more depth to her character. I felt like she was very stoic and didn't really have a whole lot going for her. It's a good anime, not one of my favorites. I'm gonna go B tier. Don't know what you are. Oh, this one! I fucking love this anime. It was what's it called? Devil's a Part-Timer. Yes, I think I heard that they came out with a second season. I heard that was terrible and it was mostly filler. The first season, phenomenal. I fucking love the first season of The Devil is a Part-Timer. I think, like, I think I've seen the second season and I don't remember it, and I don't really care to remember it. But the first season, phenomenal. It's probably one of my underdog indie picks. But thing is though these two stories had bad endings, the entirety of their anime was phenomenal. This one, half of it's bad. Half of it's not that great. I have to put it in B, unfortunately. Another one that I really want to see, haven't seen yet, Haiku. Or no, this one isn't Haiku. This one's the basketball one. Haven't seen it. I'm not a huge fan of of sport animes. I haven't seen this one. I have seen this one, however, I don't remember what it's called. It was funny. It was interesting. It didn't leave that much of an impact on me, though, so I'm going to have to put it in C tier. Don't know what you are. Don't know what you are. Don't know what you are. I feel like I've seen you. Don't know you enough to say anything about you. Tokyo Ghoul. Tokyo Ghoul. Tokyo Ghoul. I think they ruined it. They fucking ruined it. I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, if it wasn't for the 3rd season, this would be an S-ranked anime for me. The 3rd season ruined it. I'm just gonna say it. The 3rd season was terrible. It was dog shit. But the first 2 seasons were phenomenal. And because of that, I have to put it in A tier. It would be an S tier anime if it wasn't for the 3rd season. I'm so sad that they ruined it, man. So sad. Alright. Oh, they do have... Okay, so they do have the 2nd season of Sword Art Online. That being said, I'm going to bump this up to A tier. Because this is just the 1st season, and I loved the 1st season. I would put it in S tier if it wasn't for the incest stuff. The incest stuff really kind of ruined it, man. I'm not going to lie. I mean, they kind of changed it for the Americanized version, but it was still a little weird. That being said, that's all I'm going to say about it. 2nd season of Sword Art Online was dog shit, bro. Like, I said it before for the first part. It was bad. The story wasn't compelling. The characters weren't as interesting. The main character, Kirito, he was a point to drive the plot forward, but he didn't have any character behind him. It was bad. I'm sorry, I have to give it D tier. It was a bad anime. I did not like it at all. On the complete opposite front, though, No Game No Life. No Game No Life is... If you haven't seen it, I'm just going to say, I think it's only 12 episodes. Go watch it. It's phenomenal. It's one of the best animes I've ever seen. If you haven't seen it, you don't know anything about it. It is literally a brother and a sister go in and they get isekai'd. They get pulled into another world, and they have to play games to survive. And they are considered 2 of the best game players, like in their world, in their respective MMORPG. And they learn how to cheat without letting people know. They learn how to... It's a video gamey anime that is hard to beat. I love this anime. I think it's one of my all-time favorites. I have to put it in S tier. Again, No Game No Life. Go watch it. 7 Deadly Sins. I didn't finish it, and I didn't like it. I continued watching it in parts on my own time just to see if I could get through it, and every time that I tried to watch it, it didn't. I watched like 5 episodes and then I stopped for months. I couldn't stick to it. There were a few arcs that were very interesting. It wasn't great. I'm sorry. I have to put you in D tier. Your story just wasn't compelling enough for me. I don't know what you are. Elfen Lied, another one that I have to watch. I don't know. I haven't seen any of you yet, though. Is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon? Now, I know this one is... If you don't like highly sexualized animes, this isn't the anime for you. It's very provocative, but it is very interesting because, in my personal opinion, I'm a sucker for guys for animes that have a specific... The main character has one specific love interest, and he's just trying to do everything he can to either gain power or to receive recognition from said love interest. Gain power, gain power, receive recognition from love interest, receive recognition from love interest, gain power, and receive like that. That's just my cup of tea. That's what I like. That is what this one. He's doing both, and I think the way that they go about the leveling system, and it's not isekai either, so it's literally just a world where he's in there and he's just trying to level up. He's a hunter. He has to go through dungeons. It's a concept that I really enjoy. I'm gonna give it an A tier simply because I don't find it as, I don't have the nostalgia value of Dragon Ball with it, and I'm not as enthralled in its concept as I am with No Game No Life. So, is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon? It's gonna be an A tier for me. I've seen this one. I haven't watched it. Actually watch it though. This is Durarara, I believe. I haven't seen it. I've heard that I should watch it, so I'm gonna put it here. Again, this is a thing where they separated the best part from the worst part. Tokyo Ghoul season 1 and 2, S tier, easily S tier anime. Tokyo Ghoul season 3, dog shit, C tier. No, D tier. It's bad. I don't recommend it. Like, if you're fine with the conclusion of the second season of Tokyo Ghoul, just stop watching. You do not need to watch the third season. It's not worth it. Fruit baskets, I have seen a decent amount of. Honestly, it wasn't that bad. Like, it's definitely directed towards a female audience, and it is very flirtatious, I will say. But I mean, like, once you start to learn about the characters, once you like, it's not a bad anime. I would. It's not very lewd. It's just flirty guys in a club with a single female character that is pretending to be a guy, if I'm not mistaken. It's good. I mean, I'd give it a watch if that's the kind of thing you're looking for, but it's a very niche anime. I will say that. This is Haiku. Haven't seen it. I want to see it though. I don't know what that one is. I'm sorry. Steins Gate. Haven't seen it. Want to see it. One Piece. I actually have recently started. That being said, if you know anything about One Piece, you know that I don't know anything about it. I literally just got into the Grand Line. It's good. I know it's a long anime, and I know that's its biggest downfall, but like, it's a good anime. It's very interesting. The backstories behind each character is compelling. It's the main character. He's not even like, his goal isn't even power. He just wants to be like, his goal is to be king of the pirates, but not in the means of being stronger than everyone, and the means of being a decent pirate, being a decent person, and trying to have people come together. Like, it's one of those like friendship animes, a little cliche, but in a way that is way more compelling than I think Fairy Tail or Naruto or any of those kinds of animes are. And honestly, for that, I think I have to put it in an A tier as well. I think this one and Naruto Shippuden are about on par. This one is Fate. Oh man, this isn't Grand Order and this isn't Stay Night. This is the one after Stay Night. And it's good. I'm gonna put it with Grand Order though, because I don't think like Stay Night it's got a special place in my heart because it was one of my first animes, and it's very interesting. I like the characters a lot. And then this one, it kind of copy and pasted character designs, but it wasn't the same characters, and the characters just weren't as compelling. The only character that's consistent between all of these is King Arthur. And I mean, she's a cool character, but like, it's really the people she surrounds herself that make the anime, and Stay Night just did it so much better than these other two did. So I have to put it in C with Grand Order. This one I think I've seen, but I don't recall it, so it's going there. This one I know I've seen. I can't remember it. I think it's just been too long since I've seen it to actually recall anything of relevance. I remember it had good combat scenes. I remember there was yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna have to put it. I have watched it. I just don't recall it enough to give an accurate ranking of it. Charlotte, haven't seen. Blue Exorcist. This was a great anime. I'm not gonna lie. I think this one was one of my favorites. The brothers, I love their dynamic. I think it's very interesting, and I love how the main character, just the way that with the burden that he's given, and he has to try to make things work, and with his relationship with his brother or his best friend, I don't remember, they're basically brothers. It forces them in a situation that you don't see in many animes, and because of that, it makes this whole show super compelling. I have to give it an A tier. Alright, Bakemonogatari. This one, I've only seen half of. It's interesting. One of my buddies is obsessed with this show, and I get it. It's got its audience. I'm just not its audience. It's not my cup of tea. I'm sorry, Bakemonogatari. You're going in C. Dead Man's Wonderland. I wish. Oh my god. I'm so sad that they ruined this. They discontinued Dead Man's Wonderland, and they never went back to it. They had, I believe, 2 seasons, and they were easily 2 of the best seasons of anime that I've watched ever. This is one of my all-time favorite animes. The art style is phenomenal. The relationship between these 2 characters are insane. The combats are just super gory, super interesting. This is a sleeper pick for me. This is my S tier. This is my sleeper S tier for sure. I love Dead Man's Wonderland. It's just so good, man. It's just so good, man. It's just so good, man. All right. That being said, we're going to another. Now, if you're into dark anime, this is the one to pick. Dark anime. I've seen a couple other ones and they're okay. This dark anime is super suspenseful, very gory, and it's heartbreaking at the same time. I love this anime. It's hard to watch if you don't like gore or suspense, because I feel like the suspense is what really gets to you more than anything else. This is a horror anime, and if you don't like horror, if you don't like suspense, do not watch this anime, but this one is great. S tier, for sure. Kill la Kill, haven't seen it, been told to watch it many times. Let's see, what do we got here? I don't know what you are, and we are up to Assassination Classroom. Assassination Classroom, I watched in its entirety. It was a great anime. I'm not gonna lie, it was a lot of fun. The whole classroom teacher dynamic was a lot of fun. It was very interesting, but I did like how they had to throw in that little bit of seriousness to it. They're like, the teacher the teacher's relationship with the kids is a very interesting watch, but adding that suspense of the threat of the planet, it's just, and like learning about all the characters and their relationships to one another, and then the relationship to their teacher that they have to kill, it's so good. It's such a great anime. I wish that it was a little more than just assassination. I don't know. Like, I know that it's phenomenal for what it is. It's just, I wish that there was a little bit something extra there, and it just didn't give that to me, and so I'm gonna have to put it in A tier, unfortunately. I want to say this is a Studio Ghibli. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think this is Howl's Moving Castle, because that one's Spirited Away. That one's Kiki's Delivery Service. Or no, this one's Princess Mononoke. Sorry. So yeah, I think this one is Howl's Moving Castle. This one was a fantastic movie. I think this one, I've only seen a handful of Studio Ghibli movies, and this was one of them, and I think this one was great. Like, this was the very first Studio Ghibli movie that I watched, and it was definitely a great first pick for my friends. And I don't think it is the first one that I would have wanted to watch, but it is definitely one that was worth watching. And for that, I'm going to give it an A tier. This one is Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. If this video gets any traction, I'm going to get a lot of hate for this one. I didn't watch it. I watched the first 3 episodes, and that was it. And it was interesting for what it's worth. It's just, it wasn't what I was interested in when I watched it. I do think I should give it another try, and I probably will. But I'm going to have to put it here because I know it's a great anime. I know people love it and adore it, and I want to give it a fair shot before I put before I rank it justly. I don't know what you are. Not even a little bit. I'm gonna say the same thing about Princess Mononoke as I said about Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Heard it's phenomenal. I think I've seen half of this movie. I don't think I've seen this whole thing, and because of that, I can't give it a fair rating. Is there 2 separate haikus in here? Because there's this one right here. Oh no, this one's the horny cooking show. That's why. Yeah, I haven't seen either of these. I've seen half an episode of the horny cooking show and half an episode of haiku. Again, like, they're just not my cup of tea. I mean, I'm sure if I gave haiku another chance, I would get into it and I would enjoy it. But because of what it is, I didn't care to watch it. I don't like sports a whole lot, and so sports anime just really doesn't sound that compelling to me personally. I am more on the action side, and for that, One Punch Man, it's a great anime. I think it does really well for what it's trying for, and that it's trying to be a goof. It's trying to be a gag. That's what One Punch Man is. He's a gag, and because of that, like, I wish he was a little more interesting. I wish that he wasn't like he's literally again with. There's one other anime I set up here, but he is just a center point to drive a plot forward while everybody around him has the character development and the intrigue and the has the things that make the show worth watching. If it was just One Punch Man, Saitama, you wouldn't watch it. I'm gonna be straight with you. It's not that great if it's just One Punch Man, but because of the people around him and the enemies that he encounters and the relationship between all of that, it makes it worth watching. I'm gonna put it B tier. It's not. I wish Saitama had a little more character behind him. I wish he had a little more I wish he would develop a little more. I don't like that he made him just a dumb glass cannon. I mean, not even a glass cannon, like a dumb freaking super cannon. Like he's not interesting to watch, but he's strong. That's literally all it is. I've been told to watch this one. Don't remember what it is. Haven't seen it. Don't care to watch it. To be honest, it's just not the art style that I enjoy. I don't know what this is, but it looks interesting, and I would want to watch it simply because of the art style. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this one is That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. If that is this anime, this is a fantastic anime. It's another one of those isekais where he gets into the world and he's just super overpowered to begin with, and then he just kind of keeps getting more and more powerful, and it's really good, man. I don't know what to say. Like, I don't want to give away any like big spoilers, but like he's a compelling character. But that's not this one, is it? Because I see a second part here of the same thing. What is this anime? I don't know what this is. Huh. Alright. Sorry. I'm gonna have to put both of you here. I don't know what you are, but I'll have to watch you at some point. This one is another Studio Ghibli movie. I want to say this one is My Neighbor Totoro. I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this one as well. I haven't seen it yet, and I heard it's phenomenal. It's some people's all-time picks. It's not mine though. Simply because I haven't seen it. I'm sure it would be one of my favorites if I had seen it, but is what it is. Soul Eater. Soul Eater, I haven't seen in a long time, but I did watch it throughout its entirety, and it was a good anime. The art style left a little to be desired. It's my personal opinion. I didn't like the art style of the Grim Reaper. I thought that they could have made him a little more intimidating. He was a little too goofy for me. But, I mean, the relationship between the weapons and their wielders was really interesting. I didn't like the Grim Reaper's son, but I do think he has some interesting developments. It was all around not a bad anime. I mean, I'm probably going to put it in B tier, simply because it's definitely not on par with my A tier list, but I think it could be somewhere in the middle between this B tier list, for sure. High School of the Dead. I did watch that one. Very lewd, very provocative. And that's kind of what it was, if I'm being honest. Like, is some interesting zombie interactions. It was mostly the relationship between the main character and his other classmates that survived, and there was a lot of provocative scenes. It was, if that's what you're looking for in an anime, then sure, but like, it was okay. There wasn't really that many great story points, or the art style was good. I don't know, man. Personally, I think I'm gonna have to put it in D. It wasn't that great. Yeah, I'm sorry to whoever really enjoys those kinds of animes. My Hero Academia. I've seen pieces about this anime in social media, and I've seen how other people feel about it. I've personally seen probably up to the 3rd season of this, and it was interesting. I did think, again, like Bleach, halfway through the 3rd season, I was like, it's kind of dragging on. It's not really living up to the expectation that I wanted it to, and because of that, it didn't really hit that hard. And though from what I've seen on social media, it looks like it gets a lot better later on. I mean, like, I don't think I see it in here, but Black Clover was kind of the same way, where they were talking like I heard it got better later on, but it just wasn't. It was hard to get there. But if I'm looking at this list right now, I think I see 3 separate sections for My Hero Academia, which means they're going based off of seasons or arcs. So I'm assuming this is the 1st season and arc. That one was okay. Probably going to give it a C. This is the season that I haven't seen and that people absolutely adore, if I'm not mistaken. And this is when not Dodoria, that's Dragon Ball. Deku, whatever, I can't remember his actual name. Deku kind of loses himself, and I'm gonna have to put that in here because I just haven't seen it. This, however, this was an interesting arc. This was an interesting season. This is season 2, right before I kind of lost interest. And this one actually had a lot of really good character development. It had a lot of really good fight scenes. I'm probably gonna have to put that one in B tier. That one was very interesting. I know I kind of skipped a few, but I wanted to get those 3 out of the way. This one, I feel like I've seen, but I can't tell based off of that tiny photo, so I'm gonna have to go with never watched. This one was Spirited Away. This is probably the first Studio Ghibli movie that I should have watched, because this one was phenomenal. This was a great Studio Ghibli movie. I think I'm probably gonna have to put that one in S tier. I know that that's probably where Totoro would go if I had seen it, but Spirited Away was phenomenal. I loved the story. I loved the drive. I loved everything about it. It was a phenomenal movie. I don't know what you are. Mob Psycho, I did really want to see. I, however, wasn't. I wasn't able to find a good platform to watch it on. And now that I have, I mean, I'm watching a lot of anime on GoGo Anime right now, and so I'm probably gonna start watching Mob Psycho here soon. But I heard nothing but great things about it. I love the idea of a background character, the looks of a background character being a main character. I think that's very interesting. This one looks like another isekai. I wish they used a different photo because I think I might have seen it. I can't tell with this photo specifically. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to put you here. I think this is the second part of Attack on Titan. Right? I don't know. I know there's 3 of you watching. I don't know if y'all can confirm or deny this, but I think this might be. This is either Stein. I mean, based off of that lettering, I want to say it's the second part of Attack on Titan, and if that's the case, I'm going to have to put this one a little lower than OG Attack on Titan, because I don't like how much dialogue there is. Like, I mean, I can't say that because there are some great fight scenes in there too. I'm gonna put it with OG Attack on Titan, like first part of Attack on Titan. It was really good. Like, there's a lot of story beats that they kind of, because there's a time skip in there, but there's some events that happened that were very heartbreaking. There were some events that happened that were very, adrenaline rush inducing. It was Attack on Titan is a great anime. Honestly, like, I think the second part was honestly a little bit better than the first part. I know that's kind of opposite of what I was saying at the beginning, but the more that I think about it, the story was actually really good. Even though it droned on a little long, I think the second part was honestly a little bit better than the first part. I know that's kind of opposite of what I was saying at the beginning, but the more that I think about it, the story was actually really good. Even though it droned on a little long, I think the second part was honestly a little bit better than the first part. I know that's kind of opposite of what I was saying at the beginning, but the more that I think about it, the story was actually really good. Even though it droned on a little long, I think the fight scenes were a lot better, a lot more interesting, and the character development from the time skip was very intriguing. I love seeing how everybody interacted, like how everybody was basically a completely different person after what happened to them. I'm gonna have to put that one an A. That one, like that after time skip, was really, really good. I don't know what you are. This is the anime I was talking about. Not this one. I don't know what you are. This was the one that is the two people that were swapping bodies every other day or every day, and they were living each other's lives as a male and a female antagonist or protagonist, and it was just like, go give it a watch. It was heart-wrenching. It was so good. It was, I don't normally, it's a movie, so it's not very long. I don't normally stick through watching super romantic or like animes where they like body swap, because I think that it can get a little weird at times. They did this one really well. I can't remember the name, and I actually am going to look this one up because I think it's worth giving a watch for the couple of people that are watching me right now. Give me 1 second. Your Name. If you get a chance, watch Your Name. It was so good. I would put it in S tier, but I honestly think that this row is on a whole nother level. I think, again, I wish that the ending of this anime went a little bit further than they did, but the entire story aside from that was phenomenal. Alright, now we're down to the last, what was it, 10 here? Overlord. I did watch this one. It wasn't good. It wasn't. I watched like 5-6 episodes. I tried to get through it. There was no story. There was no character development. It was just, somebody gets isekai'd and then they suddenly have control over a world of a game that got shut down, and it wasn't interesting enough for me to actually want to continue watching. I never finished it, but I got enough into it to give it at least a semi-fair review, and it wasn't worth finishing. I know I want to watch this one. I haven't gotten to it. I'm gonna put this one here though. I'm just gonna put these guys that I haven't watched because I'm gonna finish this up here quickly. Alright, so Death Note. Death Note is a if you haven't seen it, haven't heard of it, which I'm sure you have, it's a very, very, very popular anime. It is a psychological thriller. It is very interesting. It does get a little slow at points, and it does get a little repetitive, but they do kind of throw in something to make it a little more interesting, being the main antagonist, and all of a sudden, and a supporting character later on. I think this is an interesting anime. It is not my cup of tea, but I respect it. I respect it wholeheartedly, and I think it is definitely worth a watch. Even though I don't really like it, I'm still going to give it a B tier because I think it is still worth watching. And now I know that I like this one. This Dragon Ball Z was one of my childhood nostalgia picks. This one I love the concept of No Game No Life. I think it's perfect idea of like what a game would be in the real world if you had to like live in game simulations all the time. I love the story behind Tokyo Ghoul and what the main character had to go through and the development that he had to endure and all of it. I think Dead Man Wonderland had some of the best artwork that I've ever seen. It's very It's the combats were very interesting. The ideas that they had in the combats using blood as weapons, phenomenal idea. I think it's very gory. It's very fun. It's very interesting. One of my favorites all around. Another was a phenomenal horror film or horror series. It's super suspenseful. The concept behind it, I do think was a little. It's interesting. I don't know if I technically agree with it, but I do think it was very interesting, and it was not something that I was expecting once they revealed the twist. Spirited Away, super fun movie. I love the characters. I loved I just the art style, just everything about Spirited Away was fun, and it was a lot of really good. Just everything was about it was fantastic. Now the reason why I bring up my S tier is because I'm putting in my last S tier, and that's gonna be Akame ga Kill. Akame ga Kill is a hard watch if you get attached to characters very easily. It's a lot of fun. It's very gory. It's very heartbreaking. The combat's phenomenal. The character developments are phenomenal. The enemies that you encounter, you can sympathize with, but you also hate at the same time. The art style is easily one of my favorite art styles. It's just, I'm actually gonna put this at the front because I think this is my number one pick for anime in and of itself. Obviously, there's a bunch that I still haven't seen yet, and that could change potentially. But from what I have seen, Akame ga Kill is my number one pick. And anybody that asks me what show they should watch, as long as they're okay with gore and they're okay with a little bit of heartache, Akame ga Kill is my number one pick, hands down. That being said, I haven't seen, I've seen a little bit, so this one can go kind of with, because I think this one's actually Brotherhood. This one's Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. The other one was just Full Metal Alchemist. And again, I don't want to give it a rating because I think that I need to give it a fair shot. I've only seen the first couple episodes, and I think that if I'm going to give that once, like a lot of these ones down here, a fair rating, I need to give them a proper chance. Here's the other one. So that being said, you watch Death Note? Yeah, no, I mean, Death Note was a fantastic anime. I think that it was, again, it wasn't my cup of tea, but I respect it greatly. I think it was definitely, which is why I put it in B tier, because I wasn't a fan of it, but I liked the concept. I liked what they were going with, and I respect their style and their path with it. There are obviously a bunch of animes on here that I have, or a bunch of animes that aren't here that I have seen. Heaven's Lost Property being one of them, but that one's it's an acquired taste, and a lot of people that watch anime don't usually go for very lewd things, and that one's a very, very lewd anime. I try not to watch a lot of lewd, like when I watch anime, I usually watch it for their fight scenes, their storytelling, their art style, obviously I have a whole explanation as to why these are my S tier. Heaven's Lost Property actually has a lot more to it than their lewd scenes, and it's because of that. It's not a bad anime, and I probably would rank it A tier, but they do go a little overboard for my current taste to where I can't say it's S tier. Akame ga Kill. Yeah, man, like I said, it's my number one pick. I love all these animes, but this one specifically, I will not regardless of what other people feel about it, it will always be my number one pick. I love Akame ga Kill. And Heaven's Lost Property, I believe I found from a buddy from high school, no, from middle school. And that's kind of how I got introduced to go-go anime as well, and how I watched all of that. It was interesting, and it was, for the time, my cup of tea. But I definitely think that with how many other animes that I've watched since then, and my taste has expanded a little bit, and I think that though it's still good, I can't say it's phenomenal. And I wish that they had like Dragon Ball Super and everything in here, because I mean, even I would put Dragon Ball Super up in S tier. I would put Heaven's Lost Property up in A tier. I'd put, there's a bunch of other things that I have watched that I would like to put up here. It's just they don't have them here. This is the top 100 from whatever list they contrived. And honestly, the reason I did this was so that I'm trying to find a halfway decent list of shows that I can recommend to people. And I mean, honestly, if I'm going to recommend anything on here, it's going to be my S and my A tier. Like B tier, I adore a lot of these, and I respect what they do, and it's just either I think that they're an acquired taste, or I think that there's something left to be desired. But like my S and my A tier, these are phenomenal shows to watch, shows and movies to watch. I definitely recommend giving them a chance. For sure, the S tier, I think these are all something that most people would enjoy. The only one that I could see people having issues with is Another, and that's simply because it's horror sci-fi or horror suspense. Not a lot of people are into horror, and it's gory. But the rest of these I think are very fun watch, very easy watch, and definitely worth checking out. I mean, A tier, these are kind of like, they're either more, they don't finish off as strongly as I'd like them to finish off, or they're just a little too long, or they got controversial elements in them that I think kind of bring down the story a little bit, even though I do really, really enjoy the story. I don't know, like my A tier, it's a strong lineup, but I think that if it really has to be something that you're willing to commit to, and that you're willing to be open-minded with if you're going to watch them. And then my B tier, I would only recommend my B tier if you have already watched my S and my A tier, and like found your niche and found the art style and the kind of anime that you really enjoy and appreciate. And then my C and my D tier, like D tier, I wouldn't recommend to anybody. These are bad shows, bad arcs, bad whatever. It's not worth the watch. And I'm like, I would argue that maybe if you're into like super lewd anime, then maybe you could go for High School of the Dead, but like that's just it's okay. There's not a whole lot of story there. There's not a whole lot of anything there. It's just it's got its audience picked out, and it's very, very particular about that, I'll say. And then my C tier, I don't know. It's just there's a lot to be desired there. It was It was good for what it's worth, and if you're really, really, really into said niche anime style, then yes, give it a try. Yes, you will probably like it, but otherwise, just it's not worth it. Like, not at all. I would say, like, with the one exception being, I would watch Naruto before watching Naruto Shippuden. That is my one exception. I just really don't like how many fillers there are in Naruto. Man, I wish there was a better anime tier list, but this is the best one that I found. But yeah, I don't know if I'm probably gonna cut this guy off here shortly. I'm probably gonna hop back on the stream in right now I'm on my PC. I'm probably gonna hop on to my PlayStation and play with some buddies later tonight. But I have some things that I have to take care of, and that being said, I appreciate the handful of you guys that are sticking around and watching this. I'll probably edit this one specific video and put it out onto my main YouTube channel, simply because it's a little different than what I normally do. But that being said,